Good evening and welcome to the first Beyond the Front Page show for the spring 2022 semester here at Cayuga Community College. This is broadcast on Spectrum, Verizon, Fios, the Auburn Regional Media Access, better known as ARMA, as well as the college's radio station, WIN 89.1. I'm Guy Cosentino, I'm your host. We are delighted to have in our studio tonight relatively still new Cayuga County United Way Executive Director Kathryn to talk about this year's United Way campaign, which is about ready to wrap up. It's got about a week to go, and they're almost as a goal, and they're going to need your help, and that's why from time to time you'll see their address and their website. You can go on the website and make a secure donation, but we've also asked them on to talk, and her on to talk about the 100th anniversary that they will be celebrating this year, as well as some upcoming events, including their annual meeting, their Day of Caring, and if we have time, we might even talk about the cash program, which is underway, and 211, which they fund. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
So I think you were here in the fall, and you were relatively new to the job, so how's it going?
It's going. It's great. It's wonderful.
So you got almost your first campaign almost completely under your belt?
Yes.
So what's your goal for this year?
The goal was 800,000, so we're at 792.
Okay, so you got 8,000 to do by when?
By the end of this week, ideally. So March 4th is the cutoff and completion of the campaign. Of course, if gifts trickle in, it gets added to the campaign.
You will not refuse anyone's money.
Of course not. No, that goes out right back out to the community.
So how can someone give? I know we're put up on the screen. There's your website. You will also take checks or cash or change at 2 State Street, which is your new office. Come and visit us
at the office. Yep, 2 State Street.
Across from the new park that's going into Cal. That's where the Chamber of Commerce is, next to Nash's. You've been there for about a year plus there, so people can do that. Is it too late to do payroll deduction?
I would suggest if payroll deduction was the question, to go talk to their HR, whoever, the employer's HR department, and then they can work with us separately, and case by case.
Yeah, and is payroll deduction a big chunk of your campaign, or is it out and out donations?
It is. No, it is. The payroll, the workplace campaign is huge. It's about 60 to 70% of the campaign proceeds.
And
typically, I should say typically.
And you're ending on March 4th, and I got this question because somebody, I think, like me, is thinking of the old days. It used to be the campaign kicked off at beginning mid-September, and there was almost a hard and fast stop, and there was a reason for that, but there was a hard and fast stop around Thanksgiving. For the last couple of years, though, it's kind of bled into the new year. Why is that?
Well, we were actually talking about this today, so this is good timing. We would have a hard cutoff of December 31st, but what we found was a lot of the larger gifts would come in after the new year. So we have some foundation gifts that come in. We do receive stock gifts. We have some trusts that come in. Actually, we're awaiting one to come in. Usually it comes in about this week, this time frame. So we extended the campaign for that reason. Hopefully by Friday, but that's okay if it's after Friday. But no, we extended past December 31st because we found so many gifts were coming after.
Because before, and I know there was a local foundation that had a hard and fast stop that you had to, whatever their match was, that doesn't exist anymore. You don't get a lot of foundations that match anymore, do you?
Not as much. We still receive a lot of foundation support.
Right.
But matching, not quite as much.
So, I think I read on one of the items, mostly the electronic email, you have about 1,500 donors this year. So if I did my math correctly, which is always questionable sometimes, that's about an average gift of about $533.
It's a big gift.
It is. So you do have those smaller gifts, but you also do have, whether it's from beneficial trusts or people sending you stock, you do get those larger gifts in a campaign as well.
We do. And this year we received a very special gift, which was actually designated to the Endowment Fund.
Okay.
So we have some funds that will go straight to the endowment, which is excellent because it will just, ensure our longevity in the community and keep us going.
So how large is your endowment?
About $2 million.
And so there's an amount that, whether it's the people who manage that endowment or your board determines will be used for an annual campaign, or don't you do that?
We are starting to. We're starting to look at the income generated from an endowment to utilize that.
Okay.
Because
I know many.
that is typically unrestricted.
Right. So how many go ahead, please.
Oh no, but you're correct. The principal stays put.
Never going into the principal,
No.
but
No.
you know, the last 5 or 6 years, markets have done.
They've done well.
They haven't done well in the last 20 days,
No.
but that's a different matter. That's why I'm wearing this tie today. The endowments have taken a hit in the last couple of weeks because of what's going on
Sure.
in Europe, but you don't go into principal, but you do
No.
a rolling average to figure out how much.
Sure. And
So-
you use a percentage. You're not going in to pull 100% of the income.
Right. So I want to ask you, how many member agencies do you have now?
We have 20 currently.
And what do they cover? I know the traditional ones, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. I'm going to get in trouble.
Right.
Cayuga Counseling, I think, is in there. CHAD, the YMCA,
Auburn Public Theater.
Auburn Public Theater, the Rev,
The Rev. Scat Band.
Hospice, a whole group.
Hospice is not a current partner.
Hospice is not. Okay. So they cover the whole spectrum there of services, basically from birth to death.
All ages and stages.
So a big change in that last half year, again, another interesting viewer question has been, you do have 3 theater or performance type organizations. You have, you mentioned Auburn Public Theater, you've got Great Perform for Purpose,
Right.
you've got the Rev. How do they, used to be the United Way you thought of as human services. So how are they in that mode?
So the 4 pillars, we call them health, education, safety net, financial stability. So those partners fall under education because we help to support their education program. So after school program, workshops, camps, classes, and the Rev education program as well, and Perform for Purpose.
And how often do you add agencies? I know the numbers range anywhere from 20, which you currently are, to I've heard 25 and 26 over the time.
Yeah.
How often do you add?
So currently we add annually. We do annual grant applications. So that is currently under review. So we received applications before the end of the year. We received from 22 agencies.
So let's take this step by step. Of the 22, you will make a determination of those 22 first, or the disbursement is the driving force?
Right. We have to look at the disbursement first, especially because of the designation to the endowment account. We need to make sure that we hit our goal, and then of course we compare that next to what's been requested.
So, well, that's where I was going with it. So something tells me that you got more requests than $800,000.
No.
You did not?
Nope.
So does that make life easier?
I don't know if I would put it that way. The endowment designation takes up some funding. We have the grant requests. We, of course, have operating expenses because we have to run a business.
So let's just say, hypothetically, if the $800,000, let's say you raise all $800,000, how much will go out the door and how much will you use for operating?
Operating, we try to keep between 15 and 20%.
Okay. All right. So,
And that includes everything from all the marketing materials that we have printed to,
over $500,000 will go out into the community, if I'm doing my math correctly.
Yes.
So that will be determined by who?
We have something we call a citizens review panel. So we reach out to people in the community, people who live in all different areas of the county, who have kids that go to school, they utilize the programs, they work here, they live here, and they know what's going on. So we convene 4 different panels. So we divide them by education. Education has 2 because we have so many requests for education. Support, health, panel, and then financial stability safety net panel.
Okay.
And so we usually have a chair for each panel, who is a committee member, a United Way volunteer, a regular United Way volunteer, and then 4 to 5 members of each panel.
And they will meet with they'll review
Yes.
the application. Have
They
sat
will.
on a couple of these over time. So they meet with the executive director and a key board member and staff, and they usually meet I don't know if they do now with COVID, but they do meet often at the site of what's getting funded. Am I
Yes.
correct on that?
Yep. To talk with the program director, executive director, someone from the agency about the program. It's very program specific.
So again, used to be, again, I'm going back, campaign ends at Thanksgiving, numbers really come in and are finalized the first week of December, and many agencies found out by the end of, it was either going to be a Christmas gift or coal, depending on what was coming out.
Hopefully not coal.
Well, but it was when there were some tough times
I know.
campaigns. Because clearly your numbers, and I'm not saying you because you've only been executive director for 9 months, 10 months now, there has been a decline on the overall amount of the goal every year for the last decade plus, roughly.
It's a fair assessment. 5 years.
Yeah, and usually,
especially the last couple of years, taking into account what's been going on.
and often requests were always outpaced the campaign in the past. Maybe not now, but they often do. So with that being said, when will you make the announcements, or don't you make announcements? You just tell the agencies what they're getting.
Well, we'll meet via Zoom likely with the member agencies, and we make recommendations to the board, and make those very happy phone calls after our April board meeting. Okay. So it's shifted. The timeline has shifted.
So when you're having an annual meeting this year, when is that, by the way?
March 30th.
And where is it?
Springside.
And what will occur there? So you won't be making announcements of what agencies are getting money that day?
No, we won't make that announcement likely until May, at the latest June.
Okay. So what will occur at your annual meeting at the end of the month?
We have had so many people register so far, so we're very excited to be back in person.
And there is limited registration, am I correct on that?
Yes, we kind of lifted the limit because it was filling up so quickly. So the Springside is fantastic, and they're working with us. We can move to a larger space if we need to.
Okay, and this is, I think, 4 to 6 on the 31st?
Yes.
And so what will occur there?
The staff will get together with the board of directors and any committee members who can attend, hopefully member agency representation, the community, donors, businesses, and we'll review last year's activities and events that we did, the volunteer participation, the campaign. We'll summarize the campaign celebration festivities will be later on in the spring. So we're going to separate that.
But you will announce.
We'll talk about the total. Yes, what was.
And how do people? Is there a cost to go?
No.
And how do people register?
They can register. They can call our office. We have a link.
253-9741.
Yeah, there's a link that we can send out for people to register. We are requiring registration.
Okay, so no walk-ins.
Right.
Okay.
If it can be helped.
So separate from this, and I know you've had 3 campaigns where you've not been able to do 2 of these before. So you are doing something a little different. Maybe it's because of the 100th anniversary. I don't know. Maybe you can expand on this. But you're doing a springtime recognition, which is separate. What is that?
So that will be in May. We're going to celebrate the incredible work of our campaign teams from the last couple of years. We had Team Alberisi in 2019, then we had our board of directors take on the campaign during the pandemic, and then of course Team Nucor from this year. So we're going to celebrate.
So you'll recognize them, only them, or are other people being recognized as well?
The campaign cabinets from those 3 years and the campaign co-chairs from those years.
Okay, so it will be people who have helped on the campaign along there. Do you have an idea when it will be? There's no specific date yet?
We have a date, May 22nd.
May 22nd, okay.
Sorry.
So what type of event is that?
It's going to be a very fun, festive event. It's going to be held at the North Street location of Prison City.
Okay.
There will be lunch. We're still narrowing down on the details because it is several months away still. But it's going to be such a celebration of the United Way team and the community and what our campaign teams have achieved for us and for the community.
And so mainly so when you say lunch, so this is going to be, I don't even know what day of the week.
I should
today
say
is.
lunch or dinner.
Lunch
It's going
or
to be
dinner.
Sorry, it's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday, okay.
Yes. Yep.
So
that way, it's a family event. We want people to bring their families.
So we have to pre-register for that?
We will have a registration.
And will there be a fee for that as well?
A small fee.
Small fee, okay. So oddly enough, north part of Prison City happens to be at least maybe 4 Frisbee throws from Nucor. And Nucor played a important role this year for your campaign. What did they do?
They are so enthusiastic and passionate about the community. It's a huge part of the Nucor ethos that's their national Nucor team really instills community involvement into their team. So they jumped right in. We started with new partnerships with Page Trucking, and we were able to participate in a Ride for the Memories event. We did Touch a Truck for families out at Page Trucking, chicken barbecue at Prison City, and they're one of the best things that they could have helped us start, and they played a huge part in it was the Day of Caring.
So let's talk about that. What is the National Day of Caring?
So last year we did our first inaugural Day of Caring, and it was very well received. We opened it to member agencies. Because it was our first one, we wanted to, I guess, see how things went and open it to member agencies and open it to the community to volunteer, whoever could put together a volunteer team or volunteer individually. And it's just a day where you receive projects from organizations, nonprofits, park cleanup, painting picnic tables,
Building beds.
And work together, meet new people, take care of each other.
So Nucor really kind of put this first one together. You're going to do the next one in August. So the concept behind this is for people, these are weekdays, these are not weekends.
These are weekdays. So many organizations have volunteer days that they encourage their teams to do. It's a really wonderful thing.
Welltown was before the changeover in ownership to Hill-Rom. I don't know if Hill-Rom still does it, but they used to do a day where they would come to Cayuga County. A perfect example is Orchard Street.
Yes.
They would do things in Syracuse on the near west side. So the concept here is, how do you come up with projects?
We put out, what we're going to do this year is put out a link on our website where we can receive projects. There's, parameters and suggestions, but we will take project requests and descriptions from nonprofits in the county. We wanted to do summertime so we could get kids involved. They'll be on summer break, so we can get, sports teams, National Honor Society, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts involved.
Do you have any idea how many people participated last year?
We had over 45 volunteers.
Okay.
We had 7 sites.
And what's your goal this year?
I don't know if we've set one yet. We're going to put a Day of Caring team together to plan it. It's a wonderful day, tremendous amount of work. So we're going to put a committee together to plan this. And, we had this discussion last year. Do you request projects first, or do you secure your volunteers first?
Chicken and the egg question.
Exactly. But I think, with social media, with the help of our news outlets, the newspaper, we will put out call for volunteers and have a section on our website where volunteers can register. So I think we'll...
So open to the public and people will roll those up. So part of this may or may not be, but this also happens to be the 100th anniversary the Cayuga County United Way. Originally, like the Monopoly game from Parker Brothers, it used to be called the Community Chest, those little
Right.
cards in the corner.
Yep.
That changed in the 1970s, if I remember
The
correctly.
50s first, and then changed in 79.
79.
Yeah.
So I know on one of your email bursts, it shows the original resolution asking for the meeting on October 16th, 1922. So you've got a couple of things planned. I know we're going to have you back here when some of that stuff is closer to that, but we should get people thinking about that. So what in general do you have planned right now?
So right now, we'll be revealing our 100th anniversary logo at the annual meeting. But to start, we have, we're going to do, of course, the Day of Caring with the personal care drive. We're going to combine it this year. So the personal care drive will conclude on that Day of Caring. So we're
Could you
hoping.
explain what that is? Because I'm not sure everyone knows. what
Sure,
that
the
is.
personal care drive is, I believe this is the 5th year, and we work with CAP. We partner with the Food Providers Network and collect as many personal care items as possible, and then CAP will distribute them to their food pantries and shelters. So businesses around the county will keep boxes, for collection for a couple of weeks. We've usually done 2 to 3 weeks of collection time. Workplaces will have boxes. It's just been amazing. We collected almost 5,000 items last year.
And then you're doing that, but you're also doing something at Cayuga Museum.
We've been working with Cayuga Museum to do a celebration of 100 years, to have an exhibit from October, the beginning of October, starting first Friday till the end of the year.
And I mentioned that resolution. Do you have lots of stuff like that
We
in your
do.
files?
We have a room full.
Okay,
Yes.
so what will, and I know often when the Cayuga Museum has been involved in this, they've gotten people to donate things for that. I'm assuming your collection with dozens of member agencies over the time. Is there any agency that's been with you all 100 years?
We've been talking about this as well, and I, don't want to miss the accuracy on this, but I believe the Red Cross, Girl Scouts, and Boy Scouts. Beyond that, I honestly don't know.
Okay.
But we know at least.
But you will be featuring what agencies have been part of what the United Way has been.
Yep, we're going to show the 100 years, who has been a part of the United Way for 100 years.
And then you're doing a gala? And what is that all about?
That will be in October 13th.
So that's 3 days short of your 100th
Right, right.
birthday in the sense of doing the resolution. So what do you have planned? I know it's 9 months away.
It's 9 months away, but it's going to come quick. So we're working on, the plans for the gala and sponsorship opportunities, and, guest speakers. We're going to have a guest speaker from the community, some entertainment, delicious food from the community.
Do you know where it is?
At Chantel Murray.
Chantal, okay, so out on Westlake Road, okay.
Yep.
And when will tickets, is that something people will be able to buy tickets in the summer for?
Yes, absolutely. We're going
Okay.
to we will start ticket sales very soon after the annual meeting.
So when you mentioned the 4 areas, they were education,
Health.
health,
Yep. Financial stability and safety net, or basic needs, everyday needs, transportation, things like that.
So how often do you not you
sure.
as director, but how often does the agency update that list or priorities, and how do you do it?
That's a great question, and I think there's always constant evaluation going on. Of course, time always gets in the way. There's never enough of it. So currently we're undergoing the strategic planning process, which includes evaluating our operating model and what we're doing, and making sure we're supporting the community in the best way. So, we've been looking to do this for a long time. So it was always coming down the pike very soon. We also had a change in leadership at United Way Worldwide in the fall So that is also, it was really good timing in order to align with the new leadership and the leadership goals coming out of Alexandria,
Virginia.
Yes.
So let me ask you last, only because it's concurrently going on right now, you have something called the CASH program?
Yes, it's right next door, actually.
It is. So it's here up at the college. So CASH stands for?
Gosh.
Well, it's a dollar sign.
Yes,
When people see the logo,
yes.
it's CA $AH. It provides what service?
It's a free tax prep.
So it's free
tax preparation.
So
yes.
it's no fee to anybody. Do you have to be income eligible, or can anybody come see
You
it?
do have to be income eligible. So we advise everyone to just give them a call.
And you can call 253-9741?
You can. We will put
And you have to make an appointment.
You do. We're asking for people to drop off their materials. It's operating now, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 7. We have a fantastic group of volunteers. I stopped in on the way over, and they are busy.
So their goal is to get somebody to fill out their taxes, because one of the big factors here that this community found out is that we were not getting people to take advantage of the earned income tax credit.
Absolutely, and the child tax credit.
So do you keep stats of how much is retained now that you may not have retained before?
We do. We have statistics from several years on what's been returned to the community. In a typical year where COVID hasn't impacted operations, it can be upwards of $1 million coming back in terms of tax prep savings. So you're not paying for TurboTax or H&R Block, or paying to have someone prepare your taxes for you, and returns back to you.
And so people aren't also trying to get loans to get that money earned. It's fill it out, they'll get it out immediately. But just a loan on the EITC, that is that the major reason that the United Way supports this?
No, it's bringing, it's all about living local. So it's, local volunteers who are helping. One of our volunteers, is in there today. She's been in there, and she's done this for us for the last 11 years, and she just loves to help the community. She loves doing this. So it's about keeping the money local. It's helping your neighbors.
So if you want to either go to the annual meeting, you want to take part in the CASH program, you can call the office at 253-9741. I think that's being popped up on the screen. But if you also want to, in the next 96 hours, make a donation before midnight on the 4th, you can do that. It is a secure site at the United Way of CayugaCounty.org.
That's
and you
right.
can go on there and make, and whether it's a one-time off donation or spread out over a period of time, correct?
Right, that's right. And we have a text to give now. So if you're comfortable, or an individual likes to text, and that will bring you to the giving sites, 91999.
And we'd like to thank you for the last half hour to give us an update on the United Way. We hope you'll come back in September to talk about all the
Absolutely.
details, and maybe bring some exhibits. And
Well-
hopefully,
We'll have some fun campaign kickoff information at that point.
and we should say, because we're still under the COVID restrictions and we're still wearing our masks and whatnot, normally we would have you bring your goal was to bring, the last 2 times you've been on, is to bring members of the campaign. So hopefully, when you name your new campaign people in the fall, we would love to have them join us as well.
That'd be great.
Hopefully we'll be at that stage.
I hope
Like
so
I said,
too.
our guest has been Cayuga County United Way Executive Director Kathryn Dennis. We want to thank her for taking the time to talk about the annual campaign. We do urge you to go out and donate if you have not, and also for her to talk about their prep plans for their 100-year anniversary here in Cayuga County. We'll be back with another edition of Inside Government on Thursday with Cayuga County Public Health Educator Deanna Hoy. She'll be discussing the county's efforts to fight lead. And on Beyond the Front Page, we'll have HEAL Project Director Monica Salvage to give us an update on the HEAL study and the local overdose trends. And I know there's a piece in today's Citizen, this being Tuesday, that you could read about the work that they're doing there. Over the next month, we do have a full slate of programs and guests, including Senator Pamela Helming and Assemblyman Brian McAlow. Cayuga County Legislative Chairman David Gould will be back in the studio, as well as Cayuga Community College President Brian Durant to give us an update on what's going on here at the college this semester. Cayuga County's Director of Veterans Services, who's new to that position, Kevin Swab, will be here. Auburn Police Chief Jim Sladen will be here on Tuesday, and Stephanie Hutchinson of the Auburn Housing Authority will be talking to us about the projects that she has been working on in her agency. And then, of course, we'll have Melissa Kartner of the YMCA to talk about summer camp, one of my favorite things, and she'll be on towards the end of the month as well. We'll also have Auburn School Superintendent of Schools Jeff Parazola and Lisa Green in to talk about Auburn's proposed budget that goes before voters in May. And while we might have a little bit of a break between their appearance and our school forum, we have scheduled the school board forum for this year for May 3rd. And we will encourage candidates to come into the studio and talk about their platforms and what they would like to see done in our area schools. Before we go, though, we would like to let you know that you can send us your thought for questions or guests to Inside Government or Beyond the Front Page. You can send your questions by email to cozguytho@aol.com or by mail to Inside Government or Beyond the Front Page at 141 Dunning Avenue, Auburn, New York 13021. I'm Guy Cosentino for Cayuga Community College. We want to thank you for watching. We hope you stay safe. Have a great evening. Join us back here on Thursday, and wear a mask if you can.